Who comes and stops us in our tracks? Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Oh, happy fucking Friday. It has been a productive week. I hope everybody had a good week like I did. Ow! That ruined it. I've got a fucked up toe and I just made it worse. Oh, got a scratch on the back, and then when I did that, my foot went out. Thanks, kitty. Motherfucker. Oh. Okay. Still hurts. Old man problems. Next Step Films. Oh. All right. Let's get some sharing done. Ow. Ow, motherfucker. Ow, motherfucker. Ow, motherfucker. Ow. Okay. Good morning, Amber. Well, Sharon, I saw that you said something about driving. Driving the broke homie to school. Yeah, he could be broke for a while. Gotta carry his ass for a minute, you know. I remember once my mom, she was dropping me off at the group home after a pass. And I said to her, I said, Mom, I turned to her, I said, you realize when you get older, I'm going to be the one that's most likely taking care of you. And she made me promise. She made me promise that I wouldn't put her in a home when she got older. She made me, because I told her, I'm going to put you in a home. I'm going to put you through what you're putting me through. I did. So she made me promise. I won't do it. No caller today. Yesterday was because I had a meeting with somebody. And yeah, they were in a t-shirt, but I'm gonna start dressing a little bit nicer just because it's just, you know, it's part of a leadership thing, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. I just felt like, you know, it's funny because out of everything that I do, me wearing a nice shirt was the topic of conversation yesterday. And, you know, I appreciate it, but gosh, man. Maybe I should just start showing up in a fucking robe. All right. Try to raise money for the homeless. That's a cool shirt. Well, thanks. You can see where I'm coming from on that. I do appreciate it, but even in the meetings, they're like, oh, nice shirt. I'm like, that's great. Why aren't you listening to who's speaking? All right. It's tough being this beautiful. Okay. Looked like it wasn't streaming there. Welcome to Daily Charge. My name's Dion. I think I lost Amber for a second. She's at the school. Yeah, when she goes to the school, this gets cut off because it's marked unsafe for children. And yeah, if you're here, please say hello, whether watching the live or the rewatch. I remember I was working for this company, EPS, Electronic Payment Systems. And we come to work one day and nobody's phone is working. Nobody's phone is working. Right? Yeah, what time does Dion get here? That's pretty much usually what it is anymore. But yeah, they had put this little thing in there. I forget what. Oh, okay. But they put in something to stop you're transmitting from for it. It cuts your cell phone out like they have at the school now, which is now legal. But back then, I mean, you got to talk to the FCC first. And the FCC showed up about 2 hours later and they shut the fucking place down for a little bit. We got the rest of the day off. At least I did. Customer service had to stay. But it was critical employees only. And I got paid. So, yeah. Anyway, they deserved it too. What a piece of shit company, man. I helped somebody sue them for $7 million. All right, let's do this. Step 3, the importance of step 3. We're starting Courage to Change, which is an Al-Anon. Yeah, I was going to go to the other one, but we're still stuck in step 11, and I've had enough of step 11 already. For some time, step 3 eluded me. How could I turn my will and my life over the care of a higher power? I earnestly tried, but I always took everything right back into my own hands. It felt so scary to think that I was not in control. Sorry, something just hit me. I don't know why I didn't fucking think of this. Hold on, I gotta write this. I'm sorry, I gotta write this down. It's about the location. The Salvation Army men's recovery was shut down 2 years ago. Maybe I can go back. Maybe they'll give me that space downtown. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. All right. Yeah. Yeah. The Salvation Men's Treatment Center shut down like 2 years ago. You can thank the recovery coaches for that one. I got a little story behind that because I was actually asked to come down and help out, and we have a great program for it, and we were going to put roofs over people's heads. We were doing reintegration, and I was doing Medicaid, and I was going to get paid decently, as decent as a recovery coach can be paid. But somebody else came in and offered boxing for these homeless, and Salvation Army thought that was a good idea, said no to us, and 2 months later, it got shut down. That's what I've been dealing with the last 4 years. Shit like that. Every time. Absolutely, Leisure. You guys are going to thank me in about 5 years when I'm making a shit ton of money. I'm kidding. I will be making money, though. What I'm doing is I'm not just opening up a house. By the time I'm done, I'll have about 100 of them. And if I just ask for $100 for each one, there you go. I'm set for life. All right. For some time, step 3 eluded me. How could I turn my will and my life over the care of a higher power? I earnestly tried, but I always took everything right back into my own hands. Now, kind of think of this from a codependent and Al-Anon side of somebody who's had to deal with somebody like us for years. Okay? It is hard to let go when it's being thrown in your fucking face constantly. God bless Al-Anon. It felt so scary to think that I was not in control. Now, for a codependent, control, see, for us is fake. It doesn't exist. We live in a dream world. For them, control is real. Somebody's got to take care of the fucking house. Somebody's got to pay the bills. Somebody's got to do all this shit. But I'm too busy at the bar or upstairs drinking, hiding, doing whatever. Yeah. Again and again, I wondered what absolute surrender would feel like, and how I would know if I was doing it. This is usually what I hear from people. It feels different. That's it. Now you got the 4th step. If it feels different and new, because you want to. I mean, listen to this. We don't, absolute surrender is hard. It's really hard. A recent speaker at an Al Anon meeting put it into terms that I can understand. He said that turning our will over is like dancing with a partner. Oh, I like this analogy. If both try to lead, there is much confusion and little forward movement. Yeah. As a man, when I had a dance part, the worst part is if they tried to lead. That was my job to lead. And I worked on that, by the way, when I was little. I worked on leading dancing. With my mom, I did it all the time. I don't know. I'm a weird kid. Not much has changed. If both try to lead, there is much confusion and little forward movement. As one who has taught many couples how to dance, I know the awkwardness and the bucking that results in both partners compete for control. But when the partner is following can relax, the other partner do the steering, the couple flows easily across the dance floor.
Morning.
Yeah, that's one way to come in. Good morning.
I'm in major pain. Sorry, go ahead.
Today's reminder. If I feel like the bucking of uncertainty, despair, or fear, I can take it as a sign that I got out of step. Then I can ask God. Then I can ask the God of my understanding to help me be a more willing partner. There are no guarantees, and that's today's reminder. This is another portion from In All of Our Affairs, which is an Al-Anon book. Kind of like living sober for us. Theirs is called In All Our Affairs. There is no guarantee that life will turn out the way we would like, but the program has shown me God's will is the only way. It is up to me. It is up to me to work with Him and turn my life and will over to His care and guidance in all of our affairs. All right. I'm going to go to 12 by 12 here, which is Amber's second favorite book. I'm kidding, Amber. Step 3. All right. So practicing step 3 is like the opening of a door, which to all appearances is still closed and locked. All we need is a key. The key's willingness. Once the key, there's only one key, and it is called willingness. Once unlocked by willingness, the door opens almost of itself, and looking through, we shall see a pathway beside which is an inscription. It reads, "This is the way to faith that works." In the first 2 steps, we're engaged in reflection. We saw we were powerless over alcohol, but we perceive that faith of some kind, if only in AA itself, is possible to anyone. These conclusions did not require action. They only required acceptance. Right? So the first 2 steps, we're in reflection. Hey, I'm powerless over alcohol. My life is unmanageable. And we're reflecting on that. Well, it didn't always used to be that way. And, it started out as kind of fun, I know there's people that say that, even my best day drinking doesn't match my worst day sober. I don't know that I agree with that. It's a pretty good fucking days while I was drinking. That's why I continued doing it.
I absolutely disagree with that.
Yeah, life was still life.
I was having a good time until I wasn't having a good time.
Yeah, but I had some good moments, I got married while I was still drinking. That was a great moment for me. You bet. I want to renew the vows though and kind of do it sober.
I
think my wife.
I saw many good concerts.
I've been to more concerts sober than I have drinking because I never have money when I'm drinking.
I've been to more concerts sober too, but it's just because of the matter of time.
Yeah, and because you have more time. Now
I
when
have
I
more
was
time sober
interviewing
than I
local
have getting.
bands,
Yeah.
like I used to interview local bands, and sometimes, and the way that it worked is I went to your practice space, and if you didn't have recording equipment, you weren't big enough for me to interview yet. That was kind of the thing. One time we went to go interview these guys at like 10 o'clock in the morning, right? We show up to their practice. An hour later, we're all drunk, partying, having the interview wasn't that good. I didn't think it turned out that well.
I
But
graduated.
I always got a live show because then I would play their music in between and we get live tracks and stuff. And then I'd send it to KRFC up in Fort Collins for the college kids.
ARFC.
Yep. I was on Saturday nights from 10 to 11.
Really?
Yeah.
When?
Nigel, who was before us, something about mother. His show was like your mother wouldn't do it, and ours was, but your daddy would. Something like that. I don't remember.
When was
Nigel
that?
Hayes, that's his name. He's from England, and yeah. When I
When
quit
was
getting
that?
back, I lost track of him.
What? When? When was that?
Give me a second.
Time's up.
2000.
Do, 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 do,
You
do.
keep doing that, I'm not going to be able to get it any quicker. All right. God. 2010. I don't know. Let's see. I suck with time. It's probably around 2010, somewhere around there.
I would have been listening.
Yeah. Did you ever hear an interview with Kelly Said?
I don't remember. Dude, I can't remember yesterday. Well, yes, I can remember yesterday.
Yeah, you're like, I remember listening, but gosh. All right. So in the first two steps, we even engaged in reflection there. And in the second step, we're kind of, in the second step, it says you came to believe. So we came to, and then we came to believe, right? And that's the process. We came, which is the psychic change. We came to, which means the alcohol is out of our system, and then we came to believe in a power greater than ourselves. But at this point, see, that was a decision, but now, no, that was came to believe, but now we're going to need to make a decision, and even making a decision, really doesn't require much action. 3 frogs on a log. If 2 of them make a decision, jump off. How many frogs are on the log? There's
It
3.
requires action afterward.
It does require immediate action once it has happened. In the big book, it says it is better to take this step alone than with somebody who might misunderstand. And it has been my experience that people find God when they're alone. That's been my experience. Good afternoon, Patricia. And happy Friday.
Hi, everybody else. Sorry.
It's all right. We all know you're not used to being up this early.
Dude, I was up yesterday at 5:30.
Yeah. Yeah, because you probably came home and just crashed. Good for you.
We were hurting. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, we had a pretty good meeting last night. This was neat. You never know what's going to happen in those meetings. You don't know who's going to show up, and it's just they always turn out neat. I think they're more of a sponsor-sponsee meeting because there's like 3 main of us, and it's just our sponsees.
Yeah, I just wasn't yesterday. I'd have been there, but
yeah.
No,
I've just been in a real good mood. So even like the room is really open. I'm like, okay, I hope people didn't take that wrong because I was joking. I was like, but even for me, I did step 3 with my sponsor, but it wasn't for another week or 2, and he let me sit on it. And that's what I do with my sponsees is, and there's an indicator. There's always, and they will say something. They'll say, I feel different. something's going on. They'll bring up something that they don't quite understand, and now we've got it. Now we have an attachment, and now we ask that question. And the question
I,
is, are you willing to go to any length to do the rest of this program? Because now the action is going to start.
I do the way that my first third step was on my knees with a sponsor
Yeah.
in a room with a candle only. And it was just to set a mood. And we did the third step prayer. And then he also, like you just said, let me sit on it for a while.
Yeah.
But that's when I started my morning meditations and prayers, basically.
No.
Routine.
We're just all we're really doing in the beginning there is just slowly putting that key of willingness in there and turning that lock so it'll open, even if it's just this much, because it takes a bare minimum to get started. And that's why the first 3 steps, there's no action, because you need to get used to, because we're trying to help you find your higher power. If we throw all this other shit on you, you might have a hard time. Of course, the experience might be different for people.
For me, it's like, all right, this is really happening. I'm getting into recovery.
Yeah, reality sets in.
Yeah,
that's what that, hey, wait a minute, something's happening. I feel a little bit better. You know what? I didn't think about drinking today. Yeah. See, now we're
those kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about drinking, but I didn't want to drink. Something different always changes. There are some people, a great effect at once may happen. I've seen that too. And
there are people out there that just got it.
Yeah, they're like struck sober.
Yeah, I'm not that guy.
No, most of us are the educational variety, but I think God probably knows my brothers and sisters' needs better than I do.
But it was. I remember leaving my sponsor's house that night, going, "This is real. This is what we're doing. This is." Yeah. I mean, it set in that I was actually going to do AA.
Yeah, hope. It brings hope.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
starts to fade.
There was a little bit of anxiety associated with it, because at that point I was mentally making a commitment.
Yeah,
to myself.
And for I'm gonna speak as a man. I had to get over that the feeling of I had to get over the feeling of that I felt I was weak, that I was going to get down on my knees with another man, hold hands, and talk to God.
That was odd for me.
Now, I'm not homophobic. That wasn't the problem. It's just that all my morals were like, no, there's not the way it works, and it's a whiny little baby like that, but there again, what went through my head was, yeah, Dion, but all your best thoughts got you here. So what the fuck do you know? And then I was able to, I made the decision that I didn't know what was good or bad anymore. Even though I'd been whatever, growing up, drug and alcohol counselor and these other things, until the hooch was out and I did this step, all that knowledge I couldn't apply. Yeah.
Yeah, this was totally foreign to me. I mean, yeah, I'd been around for a few months at this point because of all my relapses. Mm-hmm. But actually getting down into it and getting on my knees was an odd experience for me. When he lit the candle, darkened the room, lit the candle, and said we were going to pray. And I'm on my knees, my head is bowed, and I'm holding hands with my sponsor. Mm-hmm. That was different for Daryl.
Yeah, and different is uncomfortable. So
yeah, I guess I was uncomfortable, but I was also it was weird.
There's a
Um,
balance there because you also feel,
well, the catch-22 because it was also cool.
yeah, yeah. And that's the thing is, it was nice to finally find some serenity in all that calamity. That's kind of what happened.
And then there was that.
Yeah.
That
It's
was a
okay
lot
when
of
they're
my.
on my
That was a
knee.
lot of my discomfort, man. Was well, I survived and existed and was functioning in chaos for so long. To have it kind of going away at that point, my first taste of this isn't chaotic. Things are relaxed. Things are, you know, the other shoe isn't dropping. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That
Now,
was that was different.
because I heard everything you said, and there was a part of my mind that heard, "Gosh, what a great reason to drink."
You know,
And this is where it happens because number one, the pink cloud starts, but then there's that fear
it did.
starting the 4-step, and I call it the AA shuffle. 1, 2, 3, slip. 1, 2, 3, slip. Because there's a double-edged sword there, and it says it. We were smitten by a double-edged sword, and it says you're going to do a couple of things. You're either going to give everything to God, or you're going to feel better, and it's going to make you cocky, which is going to make it worse.
Well,
And
and I mean, there was that what you said was so true because it was like, I could just end all this silliness right tonight. The liquor store is up the street,
yeah,
and didn't. At the end, I didn't, but I mean,
yeah.
I
Well,
had so
there's
many
some of
times.
us that, well, they go through that a couple of times and they realize, wait a minute, there's something right here, and we need to get to that. And it's usually time, I had 60 days because in their mind, it's those lurking notions sometimes. Hey, if I hit this, then clearly I'm not an alcoholic because that's how the alcoholic brain works. I knew that. I knew it very clearly. I taught it. It was driven into my brain, but it didn't fucking matter the day I relapsed. My brain did not think that way. It was, Dion, you were 18 years old and everybody you knew was an alcoholic. Everybody drank like you did. But my friends went to college. I went to Skid Row. That part didn't pass through my mind. So it's easy. It's so easy to forget where we came from and why we're doing what we're doing. And I'll continue to say it's always easier to skip the second meeting. If you convince yourself to miss that first meeting, that next one, you're not even think twice.
Right.
And then before you know it, you're going to come back in a month crazy as fuck.
That's that theory of do something the same way for 21 days, it becomes a habit thing.
Yeah.
And having had the experience of skipping that meeting, it was like, oh well, that was easy. Let's just skip the meeting. But
Yeah.
that last time when I actually did the third step, because while I was relapsing and stuff, we talked about the steps, but he wouldn't let me start until I got earnest about not drinking.
Yeah. Sometimes this is a process.
Right. Well, what in my case it certainly was,
Mhm.
because I remember thinking, I don't know how. I remember remembering how sick I was in the mornings,
Yeah.
and then I was thinking to myself, you haven't been sick for a while, and that's when it all kind of came together in my head.
Yeah.
It's like this is working.
Mhm.
If the only thing I got going on that's different is I'm not getting sick in the morning, then that's a good thing.
Yeah. It's a great start to, I certainly do not miss waking up or actually coming to
Two,
searching madly through my little shooters for a little bit of alcohol so I could stop fucking shaking before I go to the liquor store because I could only have a certain amount because I drink in blackouts, and I would kill myself if
I would be
even though I
sick.
was trying to kill myself, but I wouldn't.
I would be sick to death and go to work, and all I could think about is what time is it? Because at 4:30 I was able to go to the liquor store.
Yeah, it was amazing how I woke up suddenly and was in a great mood at 4:30. But all day I was like, bad attitude because I was hungover.
All of that.
But gosh, I would
All
get
of it.
fucking excited at 4:30, and suddenly I was awake and ready for the day. And no,
And
no more.
there were those days,
I
man.
do
I'd
not miss it.
wake up in the morning and actually be excited to go to work.
Yeah, that hasn't.
I actually
Actually,
had
I
those.
do. I do
I
get
had, I
excited
had,
when
I
I like
had.
what I do.
I've had a couple of jobs that I really, really, really enjoyed, man. It's like, yeah, I got excited to go to work. But
Yeah. Yeah, when I was working detox and stuff, absolutely, I was excited to go to work. Before, when I was drinking, there had to be a pretty girl at work in order to motivate me to get there. All right, I'm gonna kind of read the last part of step 3 here. I'm gonna wrap up because I'm gonna go to an in-person 10 o'clock meeting. It is when we try to make our will conform with God's that we begin to use it rightly. To all of us, this was the most wonderful revelation. That's kind of what we've been talking about right now. Our whole trouble had been the misuse of willpower. We had tried to bombard our problems with it instead of attempting to bring it into agreement with God's intentions for us. To make this increasingly possible is the purpose of AA's 12 steps, and step 3 opens the door. Yeah, so we're going from, because we're now we're starting to stop fight. The fighting is stopping because we're starting to realize that this is on us, because we're going to these meetings. Everybody's saying, I thought it was everybody else, but I came for my drinking, but I stayed for my thinking. They'll hear their stories come out of other people's mouths. This is why it is important that when you go to a meeting, you share your experience, strength, and hope. These are not meditation meetings, for God's sakes. The silence is killing me. I love the silence, but not in AA meetings.
I remember I was in the car, and I don't know the exact situation, whether it's coming from work, going to work, or whatever. But my brain constantly would go, "Don't drink, can't drink, don't drink, can't drink, don't drink." I mean, it was a constant thought in my back of my head that don't drink, can't drink. And then one day I was in the car, and I realized I wasn't thinking that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking about other things, like what am I going to do with the kids this weekend, and blah 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 type stuff.
You started to focus on the now.
Yeah,
And you started living in the moment, and it changed everything. Even your perspective changes when you
but
start living in the moment.
I
That's
remember that moment when I
Yeah.
thought to myself, "You're not thinking that anymore." I mean, it was a conscious thought. I mean,
Yeah.
because it bugged me. It bugged me like crazy. It's constant. It's like I'm obsessing on don't drink, can't drink, don't drink, can't drink type crap all the
That'll drive
time.
you crazy too, because
It
then
was
all you're doing is
exhausting,
thinking
man.
about alcohol.
It was exhausting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then without conscious effort or thought or whatever, one day it went away, and I was conscious of the fact that it went away.
Yeah. I remember the first time, at least this time around, that I noticed that, because every day I would go over to 7-Eleven and fill up a big gulp. And of course, I'd have to walk by the liquor store twice to do that. And one day I came back and I'm like, I didn't even notice the liquor store. And and even those little things for us. Hey, I went the day and I didn't think about drinking. Well, until now anyway, Annie, but I didn't think about drinking. And we could start to mark up this progress before the fourth step even starts. That's why I talk about the fact that a lot of times we're ahead on our gifts because we haven't really done any work. We get to the fourth step and we've been relieved of our obsession. Well, that was done because you asked, not because you did something. You went to some meetings. I mean, really, but you did do something. You replaced your alcohol with something better, is what you did.
Yeah, I
So
was.
we can't say there's no action because you're going to meetings, you're speaking, you're meeting with your sponsor, but you're doing the right actions and they're very simple and straightforward.
Yeah, I was a meetings junkie. I was like, I just did it, and I mean 2 or 3 a day, man. And then on the weekends, I lived in meetings,
Mhm.
type of deal.
Yeah.
And that's about the time that I actually started going to Vitality
Hmm.
and what have you. And it's like, I remember picking up my kids one time. They were at my folks' house, and picking up my kids. We're gonna go to that meeting. The kids, like my son did that, and he's like 7.
Yeah.
He didn't know what it was, but he liked the people.
Well, and he knew that dad was happier. He
Yeah.
knew, yeah. And I can only say that because I went to AA with my mom when she sobered up. And that's that I supported her because she was happier and I had my mom back. Yeah. There was one day, she was an old behavior. Like she would be, yeah, she was on a rampage. And I could see it. I'm like, my mom's gonna go drink, and I was scared. I was scared. So I literally picked her up. I put her in the car and I said, "You go to a fucking meeting now. You go. I don't care where because I knew you could go hang out at the clubs. Um, when I first got sober and I was out of the Phoenix concept and moved in with my mom and Roger, I hung out all day at Primary Purpose. And I wasn't a
Yeah.
member, but Ron let me clean the place and earn my keep. So I worked the counter, but I was there all day. I'd
For
hit
me, it
parties
was the new
because
club.
I felt safe. Yeah. God got me sober right before the holidays. He knows that's the only time I get off from work. Oh. Then 1 year later, he gave me a second job so I could work through the holidays. All right. Well, yeah, this year hasn't answered my question on the job thing, so I'm just going with the flow. Yeah. No pizza delivered this year. I remember you doing that last year. Balance, balance in life, right? Yeah. So, all right. Thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. It's always good to see everybody. We had Amber, Patricia, Leisure. I think he's still hanging out, and of course D&D here. So thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. And I
I'll
love
talk
you
with
all.
you later, brother. Love you.
Absolutely. Peace out.